Welcome, guys, to another episode of the Christian Buddy Show. And on the other side of me, I am proud to introduce my guest today, Donna Campbell, a self-proclaimed mind whisperer. Yes, a mind whisperer.
Right.
So, do you mind unpacking a little bit of that for the audience at home, please?
Yes, absolutely. And it's a pleasure to be here today, too. Mind whispering, what is that all about? What I work with and what I do professionally as an international healer is that I work in the deep subconscious, what we're not aware of, and in the hidden realms of using energy to make changes to your mindset for you to create what you want on purpose. And in sharing that and talking about it with other people, you start with the conscious thought to find the thought under the thought under the thought under the thought, all the way back to the originating thought, the energy, the emotions, the feelings that got trapped there. And then I show you and help you change that. And when I've shared that with others, someone said, oh, that's kind of like being a mind whisperer. And then the media heard it and then they stuck it to me. And it's been that way for the last 2 years.
Okay. But I'm sure that you're much more than a mind whisperer, because like as humans, we're unbound with unlimited possibility, and one of those possibilities for you is finance. And yes. As a male, I'm trying to maybe save a bit of money, and maybe I'm trying to make more money. And what are some strategies or some ways that you could that people can be aligning with that finance area of their life?
Well, what's really interesting is that I'm a former financial advisor and a managing principal of an investment firm. And what happened to me was I was responsible for $500 million of other people's money.
That's a lot of money.
And so that caused a lot of stress, a lot of worry, and a lot of pressure. And I ended up going on my own healing journey for about 5 years and started uncovering some of these different secrets, meaning that how you are on the inside as a vibrational being and how you feel about money in the deeper subconscious that got programmed there when you were little influences how money responds to you in your life. So I started noticing some direct correlations with people, with my clients really, that when we got down to what was really holding them in a pattern that they didn't want, they were saying things like, I'm not worthy. I want to be valued. I want to be appreciated. And in the financial planning world, those are the same words that we use. Here's the net worth. Here's your portfolio value. Your assets appreciated. And oh, by the way, do you have enough money for XYZ goal? Because if you didn't have enough money on the outside, you probably didn't feel like you were enough on the inside. And if you weren't feeling like you were enough on the inside, chances are you never reached your money goal, because you live in a vibrational universe.
Can I I just want to float an idea with you. And the idea is, what if I'm a person that is very, how am I going to phrase this? What if I'm a person that's very greedy and I don't want to, I don't want to give any bit of my money out, and I guess that's the reason why I don't want to become this money hungry person. Like, I don't want to turn into this greedy person.
Right.
I know I'm kind of butchering it up. I'm kind of not, I don't know if I'm making sense, but what do you say? Like, is that a common mindset? Like, do people they don't want to be seen as this greedy person that's right, trying to make all this money? Or what's if that made any sense at all?
It does. Hold on. Excuse me. It does make sense. Yes. Greed and jealousy and envy are some of the self-sabotaging beliefs that we have that stop the energy and the flow of money coming in. Well, I thought I was going to choke there for a second.
We got CPR on standby, so the Christian Buddy Show will send an ambulance.
We got it back.
We got it back.
All right. So those are the energies that will block the flow of money coming in. But we do want to save. And, you know, those phrases, green with envy, and then jealousy and coveting are ways that stop the money from coming in because you're wanting something that is outside of you to put inside of you, rather than having money as balance and fluid. And it's about giving and receiving. So if you're constantly hoarding and holding on to money really tight, what's happening on the inside is you're getting the stress, the pressure, and holding inside the tension. Your muscles will tighten up because you don't have this free-flowing energy anymore because you're reacting and responding to trying to hold on to everything. Over a period of time, it will form into density into the body, and you will start having physical side effects. Some of them could be things like irritable bowel syndrome, blocked colons, things like that, because you can't release anything energetically, because we are energy beings. But if you know that money is fluid and that you are to give and receive money, but maintain in a proper balance, because we don't want to overgive either and be over generous or over kind and not have anything for ourselves. It's about maintaining a balance, and balance is all about a virtue of keeping the scales in alignment and keeping it fluid, because when you spend money, more can come back in. But if you hold on to it, it's going to be harder to get the more to come back in if you're not releasing any of it into the world to go create with.
Yeah, I guess just to kind of delve into my own experience with this podcast, I have invested a bit of money into this podcast, namely the promotion side. And like, I'll be honest with my viewers and with yourself, like, I haven't made any profit on this podcast, but I can see myself in the future. I can see myself, you know, booking really high client guests, and people want to be on my show. And that's why I'm in a stage now. I'm in a very young stage where I've had this is my 50th episode. So
Wow.
I'm really happy that you're on my 50th episode now. And I can see myself in the future booking celebrities, you know, and I really want to. And I'm not saying you're not a celebrity. I'm saying, like, I'm still giving the importance to my guests right now. But yeah, I guess I'm investing money into the podcast now, and I guess that's the old saying, you know, you can't make money without spending money. And yeah,
with that. But because you're investing and putting the money, the time, the energy into it now, what's going to happen is because these messages are going out to the world, it's going to start returning to you back in greater volume. And if this is something that you really want to do here when we're done, I will get you connected to some people for you to start fulfilling what you just asked for.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That means a lot. Thank you.
Welcome back.
Cool. All right. That's awesome. That's cool. Okay. So how did you? So you're on the law of you've got a bit of controversy here because you're not a fan of the law of attraction. You're not a fan of the law of attraction, and you're more of a fan of law of magnetism.
Yes. So law of attraction says, change your thoughts, change your belief. Your thoughts create reality. Well, that's great, except your thought has to have a fuel or an energy to propel it into being. Because if you just think it, yes, but if there's an energy or a fuel underneath it, it may stop it from being propelled. And here's what I mean by this. Imagine that you're going to drive your car. Your car needs a fuel to go. So you have to put gas in it, right? Yeah. Now there's different types of gas. There's different grades of gasoline. There's diesel, there's hybrid, there's electric, there's all different kinds. But if you put the wrong fuel in your car, what do you think happens?
Yeah, it doesn't start.
No.
Probably.
No. So your thought, your belief is your car. So when they say change your thought, change your belief, all you're doing is changing out the car. You might drive a Toyota one day, you might drive the Jeep the next day, you might drive your Subaru the next day. But if you don't put the proper fuel and gas into the car, it's not going to go very far. The fuel for us as humans is our feelings and emotions. And that fuel is 90% of that car operating correctly, which relates to our subconscious. And with
what if I drive a Tesla though?
That's okay. You still have to put in the right kind of fuel. You'll hook up to something to make it go. It's not going to do it by itself.
Yeah, no worries.
So that fuel or that energy is to us our subconscious, and that is 90% of our beingness. Our subconscious records every event from the moment we're born to the moment we exit this earth. And it's constantly assigning the feelings and emotions that we have as humans to those events. And the problem is we're only aware of that happening 10% of the time, because the scientists measured Albert Einstein's brain and his conscious awareness was 10%. Now, I'm not Einstein, but I like good whole round numbers. And we only are knowing that 10% of the time what those feelings are, that it get associated to the events that makes our thoughts go forward. So that's the law of magnetism. So if you can go in and change how something is felt that was tied to an event from whenever it was to a higher emotion or feeling that's in alignment with the conscious thought, you'll get results 100% of the time. You can change your car all day long, but unless you change the energy or the feel behind the car that make it go forward, you're not going to go very far until you do that.
Yeah. Okay. It's funny you mentioned cars, because I recently ran into maybe you can speak into this as well. Do you believe in universal challenges? Like I'll give you an example. My car broke down and I had to change the tire, and I felt like this was the universe testing me. You know, this was a challenge. And mind you, I was stuck in a different hometown. I was in a different town. I wasn't in my I live in like Melbourne. I was in like a coastal area. My car broke down, and yeah, I had to try to change the tire. I'm not that good at that sort of stuff, so I changed the tire, but then the car still wouldn't go forward. And then I had all these problems, all these challenges. So eventually, we got the tire fixed, and eventually we made it home. So I don't know if I've kind of gone off on a weird tangent, but what's your? Do you think that the universe or some force, some power will test us? Will present obstacles, will present challenges in front of us, and we have to kind of climb over those obstacles.
Yes. Because when you make a shift and change inside, it's going to bring to you situations, and then you're going to react or respond to them. And then based on how that is, it's going to say, oh, I'm going to give you more of how you responded. So it's always in alignment with who you are, because it's like a radio tower and receiver. We're always sending and receiving signals. So if you're in a constant state of resistance, the universe, that test is always going to keep bringing you resistance until you change your frequency and code. So when you were changing the tire, what was that energy that you were in? How did that feel? And the universe is seeing how it responds, and it will give you back exactly how you're feeling in the moment. But when it got working, I'm sure there was gratitude. You were able to drive and all of that. Then the universe started giving you the gratitude back, and you're like, phew.
Yes. We popped the bottle of champagne and we had some lobster as well. And yeah, we were ready to party. You know, it was a good drive. It was. I remember that drive back, and I was with my friends. And you know what? Those are the times where I really appreciate life. And because I play a bit of tennis, and I look back at my life and I see the best time of my life is when I'm going to train with my friends. Mm-hmm. That's for me like such a powerful moment, and this is why I promote kind of healthiness and like it's like a competitive sport arena. It's like but you're doing it with a team, and we're getting better together. So I just thought I'd share that. Yeah, that's been the best time of my life so far. So but I'm looking forward to my future and see where that takes me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the energy that you send out also affects the team as well. And the energy the team is in, and affects you because you're in a shared energy field. And you can be in a combined energy that way. So as you get better, they get better. Everyone gets a win-win.
It's amazing. Like, you know, I can't describe it. It's just it's a good community feeling. It's like you're bonding. You're a part of something. You know, and I think like talking about depression and anxiety, it's such a polarizing topic to speak about because I feel like every man and his dog has depression and anxiety these days. Like it's so common, and I never understood what depression and anxiety is. I can't intellectualize, I can't fathom, because I've always been the person to be active and running around. And can you speak into depression and anxiety?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of times with depression, it's that we're holding on to an energy or something from the past because we're used to of a source of energy coming to us. And then if that source of energy is cut off, we'll go into the energy of depression. Depression, oftentimes, there's clinical depression, but then there's also depression that we experience from day to day. And a lot of it is sadness, which is trapped inside, which is an energy of unexpressed love not being able to come out. So my son went through something very similar when his girlfriend left. She went to school in a different state. He went into what we call mild depression. It wasn't clinical, but he was used to that source of energy, used to being with her, and then all at once it was gone. So he went into depression. The way to counteract that is through food and diet, because if your serotonin and dopamine levels are proper in the body, you don't go into those states of depression because you're balanced. And so a lot of people will go into depression based on their health, their diet, and what they're eating. Anxiety is the other side of the coin, where it's tied to fear. And fear is really saying, I can't or access the love in the moment that there is. And the love that's there is unrecognizable because we haven't experienced this before. But it's designed to awaken you to that love.
With anxiety, could you make the argument that anxiety is a normal part of living? Like if I want to do really well in, I don't know, racing a car, I want to do really well in racing a car. Like I want to do so well that there's gonna be a bit of feedback there. There's gonna be a bit of nerves, bit of angst. Like isn't that just a normal part of life? Like
in the lower forms? Yeah.
Sorry? Yeah.
In those lower forms, I would agree. Just before you go on a podcast, just before you talk to a client, before you go onto the live stage to speak, there's a little bit of, people call it anxiety. It's really nervousness, maybe a sense of wonder, a sense of awe, but that the butterflies in the stomach, because we're getting ready to go out. When people really go into anxiety, it's when they go into a deep-seated fear. So that fear is going to stop you from going and doing the event. Or say you're getting ready to go ride your motocross bike and you have butterflies and you're going to compete. That's normal. But if you have a fear that starts coming up from it, that's going to stop you. You're not going to get on that motocross bike and you're not going to compete because it's going to stop you. That's really what anxiety is and what it does.
Yeah, I think people who are competing in motocross, or maybe they're already crazy enough. So I think I don't think they would have that issue. But like maybe I can't really think of an example right now. But okay, and so you're writing a second book as well. That's exciting.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So people all over the world, internationally, have one of three areas they always want to work on. And those are the areas of health, wealth, and relationships. So the first book I put out was called Financially Fit. It's on the wealth, abundance, prosperity category. And the reason why people want to have and create more money is because of a relationship. And it can be a relationship with family, a relationship with a spouse or a partner, or maybe even their own self-relationship. So I am now putting together the second book, which I've called Authentic Love. And that should hopefully come out here first quarter of next year. Financially Fit was released first quarter of 2021. So first quarter of 2022, I should have a second book out.
First quarter 2022, cool. And do you have a process for writing these books?
I do. What I have done is just taken the topic, outlined 8 or 9 of the main topics. I speak it first, and then I share it that way, and then I transcribe, and then I put them into smaller book chapters, and then include, different examples, case studies, stories from clients and things, and put in all the details that way.
So would your schedule be like you lock yourself in a room, you turn off all the lights, and you just focus, or like, is it more of a free flowing type of energy when you're writing the book? Can you walk me through how you get the work done? I'm just curious about how you get the work done.
A lot of it comes from the moment when I'm inspired to write, and when the time is on my calendar. I really do wish I could just lock myself into a room, and just type it and get it all done, but it doesn't quite work that way for me. So right now I'm writing an article for a magazine that they asked me to write. So it's about profit of service, the 4 pillars that you have to have for a healthy financial mindset. So last weekend, I outlined what my title was, what my 4 pillars were. And then yesterday I sat down and I started putting it together. I wrote about half of it. Today I wrote the other half. And then I'm going to spend the next day in another hour time frame, go through editing. And then the 1,000-word article is ready to go and sent off a week ahead of deadline. So that's the same process that I use writing books. I have 3 chapters in some other books as well that I've written, and a couple other articles out there that are in magazines.
That's awesome. That's great to hear. And kind of coming back to the financial area of your life, do you have any specific advice or specific methods in creating wealth? I know you spoke about the mindset, but then once the individual has the mindset, they need vehicles or they need tools to acquire the wealth.
Right. And one of the things that I can share with you is a strategy that I learned from a medicine woman called pivot and shift. And those were her words for what she called it. And it's about recognizing the emotion and feeling where you're at the moment and how you feel. How do you feel when you're paying your bills? Are you stressed and worried? Are you looking for more money? Is there lack? Or are you happy and joyful and fun-loving, and it's just a thing that you do? So it's always about paying attention to the awareness. And when you can see and sit down how you truly feel about money, which started when your parents taught you about money energetically, their viewpoints, you learned how to do that on a subconscious level, then you can change how you would like to feel about it by looking at the opposite. So for me, my parents said money was a secret. We don't talk about money. You only have this conversation with your husband when you're married. You don't tell another person how much you make. You don't tell another person this. So I thought that it was just taboo and a topic that we should never talk about. And there was always worry. There was always stress. And there was always a lack of money. That's why we weren't ever allowed to say a word, because we were always on some sort of financial assistance. Well, what's the opposite of that? That's what I learned growing up. So my life started repeating that pattern energetically until I made those changes with the medicine woman, with the pivot and shift strategy, and started looking at how I really wanted to view money, which should be a place of plenty and extra and more than. And I started to shift and change that perception. And she had me go through a really long process to do that through storytelling. And then I had to choose which story I liked the best. And that was my new story.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice if you just woke up in the morning and you had you wouldn't have to worry about that income, that money. You wouldn't have to worry about that energetic transfer. You could just wake up, hey, I want to buy a Lamborghini, just go about buy a Lamborghini, it's like, no worries. Like, it's crazy how much money really impacts people and really changes their decision, and almost to a sense corrupts people. Yeah.
What's interesting about that is I do know people that are multimillionaires, have everything that they want, but they're still not happy. And they don't have to think about money when they wake up in the morning. So happiness is really on the inside of you. It's not outside, and money doesn't provide it. It can add to it, but that's a temporary happiness. But if that happiness and that energy was on the inside, you'll always attract more money into your life.
Yeah. We eventually become our thoughts, and I think if we're always believing that we need more money or we need to keep working, then it's like it's like the what's that saying? It's like I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but we eventually become our thoughts is what I'm trying to say here. So
because it's how we feel about those thoughts that make those thoughts come into existence for us.
Yeah. Okay, so, and you have multifaceted. You have other skills and other passions as well. What are some? I believe you spoke into relationships at the start before we started the podcast. Yeah, so I guess I'm going to ask you a very broad question. What does relationships mean for you?
Wow. So for me, relationships are twofold. One, it is your connection to yourself and the relationship that you have to you, but it's also your connection to the people, the places, the environments, to everything that's outside of you as well. And the relationship that you have within yourself and how you work with yourself, see yourself, feel about yourself is how the relationships outside of you are also formulated. Not just with people, but also with your environment, with animals, with money. And it all has to do with how the chakras, the energy centers in the body, are set up. And because really how you feel about yourself is how you feel about things in the outside world. And if you perceive something in the outside world in a certain way, in a way, because you saw it that way, is a perception about yourself because you were the one doing the seeing. So relationships to me are all about connection to life.
How do we balance our chakras? Is it about like finding that balance? Like, is there any practical? How do we balance our chakras?
There's a lot of different ways to balance chakras, and many people will tell you have to do all kinds of things. What I have done for the last, oh my goodness, 10 years is use the methods that I know how to use using the energy body, and just ask you if you would like to have your chakras cleansed, balanced, and aligned. And then I ask for that frequency to come through to you. It happens. And then no matter what testing method you wanted to use to demonstrate your chakras were cleansed, balanced, and aligned, whether it was through camera or through, like, maybe someone would use a pendulum or different methods and ways to see, your chakras would be cleansed, balanced, and aligned. You ask for it, you send the vibrational frequency, and it's done. Ways to keeping them cleansed, balanced, and aligned is making sure that you're in a good, healthy mindset. You are practicing virtues. Your diet is very clean, and you're very careful where you go energetically and with who you're with and what you do. And you want to stay in those higher emotions and feelings.
Okay. But what if I'm the type of person that likes a little bit of chaos? What if I like to put myself in these bad energy zones and these and drink the alcohol and take the drugs? What eventually happens to that person? Like, what happens?
It depends on the mindset and the energy that's beneath it. Here's a story. At the time that I was in the financial services industry, I got incredibly sick. And doctors for 2 years could not figure out what was wrong with me. And I went to natural healing and medicine, which started me on this journey that I'm on now. And now I have that international healing practice. In the natural healing realm, I went to a naturopathic doctor who'd practiced Oriental medicine, and she figured out I could not digest food. It took about 3 months for my body to recover. And then in the moment, I realized that my marriage at the time was not what I thought it was, and ended due to their infidelity. And during that time, I was going to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week, working out with a personal trainer, counting food logs, diets, calories, everything, and nothing worked. And I did that for a year and a half. I even changed gyms, trainers, diets. The minute that he left the house, and we were no longer married, and we went through that transitionary process, I was happy for the first time. And I realized how much anger I had absorbed in the household, plus in the corporate world. And all of that was in my body. So it was the anger that depleted me, that broke down my digestive system. When that was gone and that anger was removed and I was happy, it didn't matter what I ate. I would eat. If I wanted brownies for dinner, I ate brownies. If I wanted to drink, I would drink. If I wanted, things that were not good and healthy for me, that was fine, because my emotional state was happiness. I lost 40 pounds in 3 months being happy. And it didn't matter what I ate or what I drank because of the emotional state. I don't think a person can sustain that long term. But if you're drinking, drink mindfully, but don't do it to hide. Don't do it to cover, to medicate. Don't do it if you're going to get angry. But if you can have a drink or two and that's what you like, perfect. Moderation, including moderation. It's not about what we're doing. It's about how we feel with what we're doing. I was eating salad, and that's what got me sick. But I was angry eating salad. I was happy eating brownies. That's all I can say.
Damn you, salad! Why don't you take it?
Right.
Okay. All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm actually trying to do a comedy course. I'm actually signed up to a comedy course this weekend. So I was out last night and just had a few drinks, and I'm just trying to learn the art of comedy. I've never really performed live or performed on stage before, but this Sunday I'll have to perform, because that's part of the training. So yeah, I'm just I had a few beers and I'm just trying to get into the moment, but it's so happy, it's so jolly, because everyone's just there to make, everyone's there just to have fun, and it's nice. It's a good thing. So what about food? I mean, you touched on food before, and you said clean diet, but does it need to be squeaky clean? Like, do we have to be so clean that we start to dread everything we're eating? Or like you said with the salad, you started to hate the salad.
Right, I did. A clean diet is eating healthy, vibrant, living food, and staying away from all the processed foods, staying away from sugars and flours that are synthetic or chemically made, and sticking with the natural sugars. So you pretty much end up going more and more to like a raw food diet. Are you going to hate a raw food diet when you do it? It depends on the person, but once you get used to it, what happens then is, if you try to go back to your old lifestyle of eating the things that weren't the healthiest for you, they'll make you sick. So if you're going to switch and do something in a clean, healthy diet, then you do that and you don't go back to the other lifestyle, because those other things will act as a toxin inside the body. I believe in moderation, including moderation. There are things I probably won't give up in life, and one would be, pizza. And that's not a squeaky clean forever diet.
Pizza.
But if you keep it in the right ratios, you will always be healthy. Will naturally someday I not eat pizza? Maybe. I don't know.
What's your favorite pizza?
Oh, I'm kind of a pepperoni kind of person.
Pepperoni.
And cheese.
Chili.
So yeah, some vegetables, but yeah, if we're gonna eat it, let's eat the worst kind.
Anchovies, yes or no?
No.
What?
No.
All right. Pineapple on pizza.
Oh, sure. Perfect.
Avocado on pizza.
That'll work if it's not cooked.
Okay.
Let's be raw.
Nutella on pizza.
What?
Nutella on pizza. Do you guys have Nutella?
We do have Nutella, but I don't like it, so I would not put that on pizza.
Cool. All right. Understandable. Okay. So we've kind of reeled off, we've kind of explored a few realms on this podcast. So we've explored the finance realm, the health realm. We've touched on the spiritual realm. I guess the next topic would be meditation. Because I'm a keen advocate for meditation. I try and do it daily. I try and do it every day. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. But can you speak into that area of meditation?
Absolutely. When I was going through that whole life transition, I met a Zen Buddhist monk who taught me a walking meditation. And when our group got done, he sat us down and said, "This is a metaphor for life." And we just sort of looked at each other like, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You were very mindful about what foot was out, what foot was down, distance in front, distance behind, your surroundings." He said, "Meditation is not something you do, but something you become." And after that, I moved to an ashram, which was a spiritual living community, and was there for a year. And embodying and embracing meditation as a lifestyle. Really, it's about staying in a certain type of brainwave pattern. And when you do, those emotions that are destructive to us, like anger and frustration, don't happen because you're in a different brainwave state. And so it's about becoming the prayer that you prayed. So I do meditation, but it's more about becoming the meditation and living in that state of beingness. Do I have exercises that I do throughout the day to keep me facilitated in that beingness? Yes.
Wow, that's powerful. And what was it like living in the ashram?
It was a community ashram. We were free to come and go. It was in the US. We did have certain days where we were together as a community, and we had certain worship times and learning the pathway. But it was really about learning the art of yoga, which was all areas of yoga from India, not just hatha yoga that people know as the physical posture yoga. But it really gave a good, strong foundation for everything else that I do today. I did their teacher training program at the time my kids were in their school. And although my children, being young, didn't remember being there, it gave them the basis of who they are today, working and living in this world, because of the mindset and what was created then. Mm-hmm. It was, the best and worst experiences of my life all at the same time at the ashram. But I learned so much doing that, and a way to live in a lifestyle that is incredibly virtuous.
Wow, that's powerful. And I want to kind of touch into my experience with meditation. Like where I'm at now is is with patience, because I feel like I don't have a lot of, I feel like I can improve my level of patience. And that's my intention going into all these meditations, is to build this rock solid level of patience. And I think patience is so underrated in our society. We're always drawn to a quick fix. We're always drawn to instant gratification. And when you can be patient and be on your mission, then nothing can stop you. You're almost all powerful, all knowing, because you're just, and sometimes I find my mind self-sabotaging myself, but it's almost this naive belief that I can get through whatever obstacle is in my pathway. And just through experience, I know, like, for example, if you're going to run a marathon, if you're going to run a half marathon, it's going to be tough, but you can work your way through that event just with the simple minded belief. Obviously you need a bit of training as well, but I think belief and patience is so powerful to have.
Absolutely. And you are so on the right track with all of it, because when you are in those meditative states, you can direct and focus the energy. It clears the mind. You get more done. You can visualize what you want it to look like and to see. And then that just magnifies and grows for you to achieve the results that you want.
Yeah. Cool. So, so when's the third book coming out? Is there any? There will. Okay.
It'll be on the topic of health, and that'll be the year later. Okay. So this first half of the year, I had the first book, Financially Fit, and 3 chapters in different books. One is One Habit to Have to Thrive in a Post-COVID World. The other book just came out called Raising the Bar. And then the third fourth book that will be launching here this next month is Cracking the Rich Code, where I'm in the book with Tony Robbins, Jim Britt, and Kevin Harrington. So that's all this year, and some articles, writing the next book on relationships. And then a year later, I'll write the one on health. But we'll see if the timeline speeds up or not.
Is that one habit to know in COVID? Is that knowing how to start a Zoom meeting, or what is that habit?
The habit, what I wrote about, the one habit to have in a post-COVID world, is about how happiness is on the inside, and the unhabit is stop blaming outside of you. Stop blaming the environment, stop blaming the virus, stop blaming the pandemic for how you chose to feel on the inside. So it's a return to happiness is what I wrote about.
A return to happiness. Yeah, because that's all we want, right? Like, I guess at the essence, I guess most humans just want happiness. Like we just want to feel happy and strong, and we want to feel loved. We want to feel loved by other people as well. Yeah, it's a pretty simple. Like we're like complex and simple creatures at the same time. It's interesting. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. And so have you met Tony Robbins?
I have not met him, but I have met a lot of people who know him.
He's like a larger than life character. He's just I think if you were to describe anyone to do his job, it would be Tony Robbins, because he's just a gigantic man. He's just like, he's got this huge heart, and he just like, he really wants, you can see like he really wants to help people. And
Absolutely.
yeah, he
Jim Britt, who was one of his top coaches. I've been on a speaking platform with Kevin Harrington. So it's kind of funny that I'm going to be in a book with them now. And I know a lot of other people associated with them that have done things with him on a very large scale, which I'll share with you later.
Okay. All right. Well, cool. Well, I might wrap it up there. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope the audience has learned a few things. And just before we wrap up, so you're saying, how can people connect with you? Do you have a certain pathway you want people to connect? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. The best way to connect with me is just through my website, donnacampbell.com. And on there, you can either email me or message me with the business phone line that's there. So that's the easiest way. You can find me in social media. Type in my name, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter. It's all there.
So that's donnacampbell.com?
Yes.
All right. I'll just put it up. Have I spelled that right?
No. Oh, yeah. DAWNA.
Oh, sorry. My bad. All right.
And then there's a CAMPBELL.
I'm going to put it in the show notes, guys. Yeah. So I don't want. I've already stuffed it up a lot, so I don't want to stuff it up for a third time. So okay. Anyway, guys, enjoy yourself, and thank you very much. Thank you.